Welcome back, folks. It has been a few days since the release of the personal missions on World of Tanks, and I hope the missions are going well for you guys. But after playing through to the StuG IV, I can tell you that these personal missions are like a double-edged sword. There are good parts about them, but there are pretty bad parts about them as well. And what is certain is that they do make this game more interesting. And by interesting, I mean more interesting to watch, because I saw a lot of dumb stuff over the past 2 or 3 days than the last 6 months or a year of playing this game. So yeah, it does have an influence on player base, and players will do stupid stuff to accomplish their missions. So it does make this game more interesting. So this video will be my impressions about these personal missions, as well as a few advanced tips that I learned after getting to the StuG IV. So here we go. Now let's go over the good stuff first. So the good stuff is obviously the rewards. Now you get a lot of rewards like tanks, obviously, garage slots, crew, premium time, credits. So here are the good stuff. So basically the best reward in my opinion is the crew, the female crew, because they come with 100% training on whichever tank you choose. So that's pretty good. It's like freely trained with gold, and they have 2 skills. One is the Sister in Arms or Sisterhood of Steel, what do they call it, which is 5% if you have all crews trained with it, which basically every female crew will have that. So that's a free plus. Also, they get enough XP for 1 skill after that, so you can have your 6th Sense on your commander, or your Deadeye for your gunner, or your clutch braking for your driver, your safe stowage for your loader, whatever. So that's amazing. So 2 free skills for each crew already, and 100% trained. So that's pretty nice. Also, the amount of XP needed for the 3rd skill, like the repairs, as you see here, is the same amount of XP needed for the 2nd skill if it is a male crew. So there's no XP hike from the 2nd skill to the 3rd skill, like the same goes for the 2nd skill on the male crew for the 3rd skill on the male crew, I guess. So the XP is not hiked, so that's a plus. Now there is a major downside to these female crew, is that they don't have a female voiceover. So yeah, that blows. So you have a male voiceover, the same male dude that you hear when you're playing your other tanks with the male crews on them. So yeah, it's drag queens, I guess. So I mean, hopefully Wargaming will have a female voice actor and do these lines for the crews, but for now they have male voiceovers, so that's a major downside. Alright. Now, also, there's a good stuff about the rewards that's not the female crews. So you get a tank if you complete each episode. You get the StuG IV, the T28 concept, the T55A, or hopefully you get the Object 260. So, awesome. But what is interesting with these tanks is that you get a garage slot, which is expected, but you also get 100% crew trained for it. So it comes with a whole squadron or whole crew that's 100% trained for this tank. Now the StuG IV as well as the other tanks are considered as premium tanks, and you can just fit any other TD crews onto them and they can just fully operate this tank. So basically you could just retrain these crews into a 90% crew by credits for another tank destroyer of your choosing. So that's pretty nice. So basically you can just retrain them for another tank, which is better than having a 75% crew or 50% crew than having a 90% crew. So that's always good. Also, if you're so much as to not like this tank or the StuG IV, or nonchalant about it, you can just sell this tank for some credits and for the garage slot. But I consider you a weirdo, because why would you do that? But hey, if you're so bold, you can do that. So alright. Now also you get a lot of credits after playing through these missions. And after I got to the StuG IV, I got about 5 million credits from grinding while playing through these missions. So that's a lot of credits, which helped me buy my Jagdpanzer U100, which is pretty nice. Also note that the missions, as they progress per episode, gets double the amount of XP or double the amount of credits or consumable it has. So that's a plus, because here is for the StuG IV, and the second one is for the T28 concept. As you can see, the credits doubled, so you get more credits. Now, I don't know if it doubles again for the T55A or doubles another time for the Object 260, because that would be pretty crazy, since it will be 200,000 for the T55A or even 400,000 for the Object 260, and that would be pretty nuts. So total about 600,000 if you complete the first light tank mission for the Object 260. That's like freaking large events already there for one mission. That's crazy. All right, so you do see that these rewards does add up and grow exponentially, because you can just sell the consumables, you can sell the other stuff like the what's the other stuff? I think you can get equipments from these as well, because I think you can just sell those equipments for credits. But I don't see the T55A or the Object 260 missions, but I think you can sell the equipments you can get from these missions as well. But if not, you can just sell the consumables. But you can also get experience from them as well. So that's a lot of free stuff you can get. Well, not free, but that's a lot of reward you can get, which is pretty good. Now, we talk about the good stuff about these premium missions, or not premium missions, personal missions. Ugh. But there are pretty bad stuff about them too. So here are the bad stuff. So this is more fun because it's kind of crap. So here are the bad stuff. Now, some missions are ridiculous. Totally bullcrap. So here is a few examples of these missions. So you can see that these missions will make players do stupid stuff like spot 2 enemy artillery as a light tank and help your allies destroy them. I have seen tanks that would rush to enemy base in the first minute just to spot these artillery. Remember, you still have to have them destroyed by your allies. So artillery is not even loaded. Your own artillery is not even loaded. So basically you just suicide scale for nothing, which is ridiculous. So I see a lot of stupid stuff that happened over these past 3 days or so. But alright. Also, be the first to spot 4 enemy vehicles means a whole bunch of light tanks just zoom into enemy territory for whatsoever. There's no caution. Caution is blown out to the wind. Just whatever. Just piss in the wind and just go for it. So, alright. Now, there are a few other missions for different categories, like destroy enemy light tank during the first 2 minutes of a battle while driving a medium tank. What? That's kind of hard, because first 2 minutes, that's literally like straight out of your base and directly to the middle of the map. That's 2 minutes. You have to kill a light tank while driving a medium. Remember, the light tank could just run back towards his teammates. So you're chasing a light tank all the way across the map into the enemy base. So basically you're suicide scouting in a medium tank. That's also stupid. Alright, here's another one. So set an enemy vehicle that's 1 tier higher than yours on fire while driving a medium. Now, setting on fire is RNG. Alright, you have to hit the engine deck with your medium tank, and it's not always on fire because medium tanks tend to have low module damage when they're low tiers, and if it's high tiers, you'll tend to destroy the tank then set them on fire. So that's RNG based, it's not skill based, so that's pure luck in my opinion. But the only time I completed this is destroying, or not destroying, but shooting a bulldog while driving the EZ8. So that caught the light tank on fire, which gives me the condition, the win condition for this mission. But it's a crapshoot. It is really a crapshoot. So alright, now here's another good one. Destroy an enemy light tank during the first 3 minutes when you're playing artillery. The fuck? Really? Okay, within the first 3 minutes, there will be other targets like heavy tanks, tank destroyers, medium tanks, whatever. Your main job is to destroy a light tank in artillery. So basically, it'll take you around 30 seconds to reload your gun for the first shot. If you miss, you have 2 minutes to reload a few more couple rounds. So, and the light tank is moving like 50 kilometers per hour. What kind of freaking mission is this? It's fucking ridiculous. It's so stupid of a mission. Alright, next one. Cause damage to 3 enemy vehicles in a single shot. The kind of clusterfuck are we talking about here? This is only for the T28 concept, remind you. I remind you. This is only for the T28 concept. What the hell are you gonna have for the T55A? Destroy 4 tanks or hit 4 tanks with a shot? What kind of clusterfuck are we talking about here? It's not normal to have like a group of people just stick together like glue. That doesn't happen like 99% of the time. Unless you're playing like American artillery with a super large splash radius with gold shells. What? So that's just alright. Now here is the T28 concepts. Artillery on artillery mission. You have to destroy 2 enemy artillery. So basically, unless your teammates already flushed out the artilleries, you have to counter battery your opponents 2 times while dealing 2000 damage as a secondary condition or requirement. That's just some of these missions are so bizarre. Alright, so here's another one. Cost some damage as artillery but remain hidden throughout the whole battle. Now there's a tricky underhand getter pass done to this mission, which is basically just drown yourself after you deal 1500 damage. So you can bypass the unspotted part by just drowning yourself because there's no punishment system for suiciding yet. So I saw a lot of artillery just scumbagging into a lake or a river because of this. So that sucks. Also, you have a light tank and heavy tank base capturing mission, which does screw over a lot of players because it's like, ooh, I need to base capture. Ooh, I need to go there and just base capture. So basically, you still have like half the enemy team alive while they go and base capture, and you go left by yourself to defend against like 3 or 4 enemy tanks with no help. So, and they failed to base capture. So wonderful. So some of these missions are god-awful designed and just irritating, but I saw a lot of players do stupid stuff because of it, so I guess it pays off. I guess. Alright, so here are the actual design flaws about these missions. Now, you do have to manually activate each mission, which does get annoying because sometimes I just read it and forget and just go straight towards a match and totally forgot to click accept. And I got pissed because I sometimes finish the mission and just like, the fuck? I did it, but oh no, you didn't activate it. So, god damn it. Alright, that's one annoying part. There's no progress bar within the game, so you cannot see how much more spotting damage or how much more damage you need to take or block or deal. So there's no progress bar within the game. So that sucks because there are a few times where I got close to like 300 damage needed for blocking, which I died because I didn't know. I thought that was how much I needed already, and I choose to die. So that also sucks. Also, only the last mission within the whole set of 15 matters because the first 14 doesn't have the recommendation with the little token slip, whatever you call it, for the crew as well as for the premium tank. So only the last mission matters. So basically, the design that to get to the last mission is
kind of stupid in my opinion, because why not just have the unlock 14 missions before you, with each mission give you like 1 token, and each mission, and you can add up to the total amount of tokens, so you can have like 60 tokens needed for the StuG IV, instead of having like, I don't know, instead of having like only 1 token for 1 category of tank. So basically what I mean is that you get 5 tokens if you complete 1 episode or 1 tank category. So if you complete the tank destroyer category, you get 5 tokens. But what if you get 1 token per each mission throughout the whole tank destroyer line, and you can have the amount of tokens needed for the StuG IV to be increased to 60. That way you can just play a few missions, get to the platoon part, and play another few missions from another category, so you can actually skip out on the platoon part. So that's what I mean. But yeah, only the last mission matter, and that's kind of stupid in my opinion. And lastly, it's a number based system, because you have to block like 8,000 damage with a heavy tank, or receive 8,000 and deal 8,000. So it's a static number, as well as spot 4,000 damage with a light tank. So it's static. Now it's pretty difficult if it is static for low tier, because low tier tanks doesn't have that much HP. So think about it this way: if you're playing a tier 5 light tanks, the best you can hope for spotting damage would be like 2,000 or 3,000. 4,000 is kind of too much, so you need a higher tier light tank to spot more health for your allies to shoot. So the static number system is kind of flawed in my opinion. So here are some recommended from me improvements about these requirements. So how about you constantly spot somebody instead of first spot somebody? So try to teach people how to play passive scouting than active scouting, because YOLOing is kind of suicidal in my opinion. So how about constantly spot somebody for 10 seconds while sitting in a bush, remain hidden with a camouflage net. That's actually a pretty bigger impact on the game, because you're not suiciding, you're passively scouting, and the targets are more lit than your active scouting for 3 seconds and they disappear again. So that's actually a better skill. Now how about you ricochet or block 50% of the shells that hit you, instead of blocking like X number of damage, because that just means other players would just have like farming on damages, because I did that. So what you have is a heavy tank that will sit there and pretend to be AFK while other people shoot you for the damage needed to be farming up the damages. So how about you turn that system into like block 50% of the shells that hit you? So that's actually a pretty good idea. So have a requirement like receive at least 10 hits and block at least 50% of them. So that's actually a better requirement than the block X number of damage. Alright. Now how about you deal like 50% of a heavy tank's health or tank destroyer's health while playing a medium tank. So basically, for this improvement, all the medium tank missions are focused on destroying like 2 heavy tanks or 2 light tanks or 2 tank destroyers or something like that, which is about KSing. Now what if you just make the conditions like deal 50% of heavy tanks health while you circle strafe them? That's actually a better way of teaching somebody to play a medium tank and learn how to side strafe somebody than just KSing. So it's better to teach somebody the skill than teach them like a false sense of accomplishment by shooting and KSing. So alright. Also have the artillery focus on damaging enemy heavy tanks and tank destroyers instead of destroying the light tanks within the first 3 minutes. What the fuck? It doesn't make sense. So have missions surrounding heavy tanks or dealing damage to heavy tanks or tank destroyers when playing artillery is actually better for the team than having your artillery shoot other artillery or shoot light tanks in the beginning of the game. So it doesn't make sense, right? Alright. So mainly remove the number requirements. That's what I'm theoretically suggesting, because number is a bad stuff. So
block 8,000 damage with a tier 6 heavy, that's literally impossible. So yeah, so remove the number requirements and replace them with a percentage, because percentage is actually easier. You can just block like 70% of your tier 7 heavy tank's health than block like 5,000 damage. So percentage is actually better than static numbers. Alright. And lastly, why the hell do we need to platoon? Alright, platooning does not make us a better player. There's no proof of that, because when we platoon, we just basically do the same shit over again, with the difference being we're platoon, and that's pretty much it. So why the hell do we need to platoon? That's just a stupid requirement. Alright, whatever. So, and lastly, here are the miscellaneous tips I found after reaching the StuG IV. So basically, use a low tier medium tank to set fires, because high tier medium tanks have guns that likely kill the target when you finish hitting them for like 3 or 4 times, then setting them on fire. So tanks like low damaging but rapid rate of fire is good, like the type T34 or the T34, the Sherman, which is pretty good. I use the Sherman Easy 8 for my mission. So alright. Now you have a higher chance of facing more light tanks as a low tier medium tank than a high tier medium tank. So play something like the Matilda and you see a bunch of medium tanks, or a bunch of mediums as well as light tanks, because tier 4s are mostly mediums and lights without that many heavies or tank destroyers, hopefully. But you get where I'm going with that. So basically the Matilda helped me out with a lot of the StuG IV's mission, because it's pretty much destroy light tanks, destroy medium tanks, destroy heavy tanks, destroy tank destroyers with your medium. And the Matilda is a pretty good heavy tank, even though it's a medium. So that's a pretty good choice. Now the Crusader is also a good choice as a light tank to base capture, because it has medium tank matchmaking. So you can use this Crusader as a medium tank to base capture. So that's the tank I use to finish that mission. Now, out of all the categories, tank destroyers are pretty much the easiest and most straightforward of all the tanks. So all they have to do is deal damage and remain unspotted, which is pretty much what a tank destroyer had to do. So it's pretty straightforward, with a minimal amount of bull crap that you need, like setting people on fire and all the other crap. So, alright. Now be aware that some missions cannot be completed on some maps, because try light tank and artillery combo on Himmelsdorf and you'll pull your pubic hair out. So there are some combos and some tanks or some missions that does not work on some maps, because the maps are too small or uncoordinated, I guess, because there's so many buildings in the way. So it's an RNG thing. Alright, so basically all you can do is do your best for that mission, get it over with, and go to another map, hopefully. So yeah, it's so much RNG into this. Alright, and you really need a high tier light tank and heavy tank for the 15th mission, even for the StuG IV. So basically 4,000 spawning damage and 8,000 damage blocked, dealt, and 8 with your tank is insane for any tank below tier 8. So I finished the light tank mission with my AMX 1390 on Pz.Kpfw, because that map is actually the best for passive scouting, or Miravanka, one of which, but you really need an open map for passive scouting for a lot of damage, and a high tier too. And for the heavy tank mission, I finished that with the STI while playing, I think it was Stalingrad? Yep. So basically, block a few shell with your heavy tank, and when you're playing a high tier heavy tank, you have a lot of hit points, because the current requirement is the 8,000 damage blocked, dealt, and 8 by your own HP. So basically, if your tank is destroyed during the match, you have your HP as the amount of needed into that requirement. So the STI has 1900 HP. So basically, you can deduct 1900 from 8,000 because your tank has that much health. So that's pretty easy. So if you have something like a mouse or E100, you can deduct a lot more
if your tank has more health, because as long as your tank gets destroyed and your team wins the battle and you can block the rest of the damage and deal the rest of the damage, you're good. So yeah, you do need a high tier tank for even for the StuG IV. That's just not fair. And also, finally, do not have the missions make a fool out of you. Alright, don't make yourself a bad player because of the missions. So here is the KV4 story. Now, I was playing with my artillery, the GW Panther, and it was assault mode, and we're defending. So it was like 3 minutes left, and there are 2 sides to this map. I think it was on what the freaking map's name, or whatever the map's name, whatever. Alright, so I was defending one side with the ISU, alright, on one side. And on the other side, there was a KV4 with a Tiger II. So the KV4 and the Tiger II were facing a Tiger I. And the KV4 was telling the Tiger II to stop hitting the Tiger I so he can farm the amount of shots the Tiger I is shooting into the KV4 for the damage blocked and ate and dealt. So basically, the KV4 was just sitting there pretending to be AFK without Tiger I shooting at him, and the Tiger II is wondering, why the hell can I not shoot him? So the KV4 got pissed off that Tiger II was shooting at the Tiger I, so he started to team kill the Tiger II, in which he turned blue afterwards. And by the end, the KV4 has 5 health left, the Tiger II is still living, and the Tiger I is dead. And the KV4 got really pissed off. He killed the Tiger II, and he became blue. So, alright, he didn't get banned or whatnot. He's still moving towards my side of the map. So at that time, he was still furious about the Tiger II because he was shooting at his prime farming target. So in the end, I shot him with my GW Panther because he's blue and he's already pissed off, and I shot him back, killed him. Little practice for me, but justice. He got so pissed. That made my day. That made my Saturday. It was so funny. Oh my god. So I think he almost had it. I think he almost farmed up enough points for the damage blocked and whatnot, but he was blue, so I could shoot him without penalty, and I shot him with artillery. So don't make these missions turn you into a bad player and start to team kill or just curses. Just don't do that. These are missions, alright? You don't have to do them right away. Since this patch, there's no time limit on these personal missions. You have until your 100 or your 99 or your 90th birthday to reach the object 260. Alright? These missions don't have a time limit, so don't worry about it. Alright? Take your time. It's called progress over perfection. Alright? So don't worry about it. So, but that artillery shot on the KV4 really made my day because he got so pissed at me about it. It was funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my opinion and impressions about these personal missions. They are rewarding, to say the least, but they're not what I expected out of wargaming, because there are a lot more weird plays and suicidal dumb acts and other crap that happens when the introduction of these personal missions happened. And I don't know, it just makes this game a whole lot more different than it was before, because there are a lot more artillery players now, and you can see like 3 artilleries per game. The last time that happened was patch 8.5 before the artillery nerf, so you can actually see a lot more artilleries, like 3 or 4 or even 5. So artillery is coming back with this patch, and there's a lot more light tanks too, so you can see up to like 3 light tanks or 4 light tanks per match. So yeah, it does change the game somewhat, and there are a lot more weird plays and spontaneous acts of dumbness they can see per match. So yeah, the game is different.
the game changed with the introduction of these missions, but I don't know if it was for the better. It does make the game more interesting though, so that's something. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun playing through these personal missions. I met some of you guys when you want my help with the platoon missions, even though the platoon requirement is just ridiculous, but alright. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Rate this video if you can. That always help me out a lot. Leave a comment below if you have any questions regarding to these missions and how you should play them and tips or whatnot, since I already got the StuG IV, so I have a few experience with these missions. Alright, but thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel for more World of Tanks stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.